Production.
Yo, what's poppin'? Exro squad. So again, look what's happening here. The technicals are falling in line with the weekly updates on this stock, right? So like I said, this trend line now has been negated. It looks like we're going to get a close below it, the first close below this trend line since September 2022, right? So let's get that out of the way. We'll look at this now from solely a supply demand perspective, right? So back in November up until late January, this $2.10 to $2.20 zone was a major resistance. So we got stuffed there several times until the supply weakened enough where the demand outweighed the supply. We then break up over it and we continue to a new high here, right? So what we're looking for now is a back test of this zone, right? That's what we might need to see. We might need to see that this is going to now act as support, right? So we have this gap down. We might keep that in mind. This gap down here might potentially get filled in the future. What we first might need to see before that happens is this base get developed before we come and crack this zone here. So right now, again, this is, I think what's happening here, if we're looking at it from an Elliott wave perspective, we have our low, right? That's our wave one right here. Wave two was this ascending triangle pattern type pattern. We have a wave three, and now wave four is going to be a more longer drawn out period of consolidation before we get this fifth wave pop that could potentially bring us past this resistance zone, right? So this is the zone we're trying to weaken if we're looking for longer term, right? So we have 266 to 295. This zone needs to get weakened, and we spent a little bit of time trying to weaken this zone, but it's still not there yet, right? So along with some bullish news that could come out, along with markets potentially turning around, we need to pay attention to what's happening with all this industry contagion that's about to happen, right? So all these banks are about to, I don't know what's happening from a very fundamental perspective. From what I understand, a lot of these banks are over leveraged due to the interest rates. So that could be a sign that in order to fix this problem, the interest rates need to decrease. Now, again, I'm just jibber jabbering. I'm no market analyst. What I could be saying could be all completely false. But these are just simple indications that I'm looking for that could potentially, help with my overall thesis when it comes to the tech stocks and in the markets in general. So if we do see interest rates start to decrease due to all of this, all the bank runs that are going on right now, that could be a bullish catalyst for tech stocks. That's exactly what I'm looking for. This zone we're trying to see, is that our new support, right? And if that is our new support, we'll then try to gather in a base here before we break this, fill this gap, and then we make our way back into that 266 to 295 zone, right? I still think Exro looks decent right now. What would potentially invalidate all of this, in my opinion, right? What would invalidate this is if we see a bearish cross on the weekly time frame and we lose our supports and we lose all of this. So if we see this 8 EMA cross below the 20, the 8 EMA cross below the 21, that's not a great sign. That is essentially we're losing a bunch of momentum. That could also have to do with if markets continue to the downside here, right? So there's a lot of things to pay attention to. There's so many different outcomes. From a technical perspective, this zone is our major zone. We need to hold this. If not, then our next support is this level. This is where we'd be paying attention to as well, $1.68. And that wouldn't be a horrible area to be looking into as well, just because if you look back, this zone right here was a resistance zone for quite some time before we ended up breaking over it. You could look at it like this, essentially this area right here, right? If this gets absolutely murdered through, like this $2.09 to $2.20, if there's no support there at all, then the next area we're looking for is this $1.60 range, right? Either way, long term, it's looking nice. That's the breakdown here on Exro. Peace, guys.